Hey, what's up? This your girl KeyIce. Welcome to the Rep My Black Show. I'm here solo today. My co-host Grandmaster Baseman Star is not able to join me today. He has some business at hand. As y'all know, he's a choreographer. He's also doing a lot of dance competitions around this time of year, being at the summertime. So we wish him the best of luck with what he's doing today. But yeah, we have a really good show today. We have a special guest on board and I will be bringing them up really shortly. Young Nikki will be joining us, but I do want to start off with a few birthday shout outs because, as y'all know, here at the Rep My Block Show, we like to show some love to everybody that's had recent birthdays. And so let me go ahead and start off with that because there were a lot of cool birthdays this week actually. And some of those birthdays included we had we had a lot. We actually had a lot. But let me go ahead and put the banner up so y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Ice Cube had a birthday. So his birthday was on the 15th. Happy birthday to Ice Cube. Then we had AJ Stacks out of San Antonio. He reps Chi-Town as well as San Antonio. Happy birthday to AJ Stacks. Tupac, the late great legend Tupac Shakur. His birthday was also on the 16th. Eddie Levert Sr., soul legend. His birthday was this week as well. And then also, sorry, that's my dog, y'all. Jay French. Jay French had a birthday as well the other day. So we wish him the best of luck. He's always shown us love here at HomeBase Promotions. So much love to Jay French and happy birthday to him as well. Yeah, I do apologize about my dogs. Sometimes, if y'all watch this show, you'll know that sometimes my dogs, they be at it. They're silly. But anyway, um, we will be talking about some trending topics at the end of the show today, but I do want to first chop it up with our special guest, what we're here for, what everybody's here for. We definitely want to speak to young Nicky, and I'm going to be bringing him up here shortly. I'm trying to get these claps together. Okay. But I would like to welcome our special guest, young Nicky, to the stage. Hey, what's up, young Nikki? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good.
That, that's what's up. Okay, well, with it being the Rema Black Show, can you tell us what city you're repping today?
Seattle, Washington.
That's what's up. Seattle in the building. Seattle, Washington. So, okay, for everybody that didn't see his first interview with us, he has been on the show before. At the time, Don Dada and Diablo Beauty, they were actually interviewing him, but he is back, and I'm the main host, so I'm really actually excited to talk to you because you said some things during the last interview that intrigued me, as well as I've seen some of your interviews since then. But I do want to start off, talking about just the overall vibe of Seattle because as far as hip hop, Seattle is not one of the cities that most people think of right away when it comes to hip hop. So can you kind of tell us about how the hip hop scene is in the Seattle area?
Well, this is Seattle is a big music scene. Like we got artists like Sir Mix-a-Lot, Macklemore. Like you said, it's a big scene, local scene, but locally, Seattle's not really on the map. But yeah, we're getting there. It's more
Okay,
underground. A
a
lot
lot
of
of
underground
underground.
artists. Yeah, but
Okay.
there's a lot of talent.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And I'm glad you did mention, Macklemore and Sir Mix-a-Lot because they are from that area. As far as the underground scene in Seattle, would you kind of say that the city is like on the united front? Like, are the artists out there more united? Like when you go to the underground spots, or is it kind of like
Yeah, it's
okay,
like everybody know everybody. Everybody's connected. You might know somebody that um know know somebody else, and yeah, it's getting more united now, especially now because there's another generation coming up in Seattle, so they're learning how to like put their differences like aside, and even the street, street dudes put their differences aside and collaborate on music, which is kind of good because Seattle's not, we're not used to seeing that. So as I see it, it makes me kind of, it makes me proud because I'm part of the, this new generation being born in the '90s. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's really good to hear that the artists are coming together out there to unite a little bit more, sound wise, because you with your music, you have your EP versatile out there. Sound wise for Seattle, would you
Right.
say that your music is reminiscent of like the standard Seattle type sound, or do you have your own sound separate from other Seattle artists out there?
I got my own sound. I try to separate. I'm from Seattle and I try to represent Seattle as my hometown. But I got my own. I try to have my own sound. My own swag. Always, said, just be myself and yeah, and just yeah. I just feel like I'm in my a different lane than most people. Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. So, in general, would you say like if I was to travel to Seattle, um, and listen to some of the artists out there, what would you say the vibe is? Is it more like a East Coast type vibe, West Coast, Cali type vibe? Like overall from the artists that are out there.
Well, a lot of art. I say a lot of artists they kind of like a West Coast vibe, you know. It is like a West Coast vibe. A lot of artists, rap on, West Coast beats. So it's kind of yeah, it is kind of like a West Coast vibe out here. But it's multi cultural. You see different type of
Yeah.
races out here.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
what's up. Okay, feeling that, feeling that. Well, back to your music. You do have your EP out, Versatile. It has 4 tracks on it. I did take a listen to other tracks. I do like the sound. I like, in particular, you have your bounce track on there. I wanted to ask you about that one because um, I know that one you had been booked to perform all the way in Virginia to perform that track in
Yeah.
particular. Can you tell me about how that came
Yeah.
about? Like how that booking even came about?
It came about on, like the more I feel like the more you post or yeah, the more you post on social media sometimes, can get you opportunities that, and meet people that, you ain't never met before. And so yeah, that came from um some company called I think it's FMG. Yeah, FMG. And they and they're like a company that, with dancers and they book revenue. They book revenues for events like pool parties, and I seen it, and that's something that I always wanted. I want to get back to performing. So because I haven't performing since 2019, and so when I seen that, to me that was the perfect opportunity to travel and also perform. So that's how that came about from through Instagram.
Okay, that's what's up. And what was that experience like? Okay, well, let me ask you, had you been to Virginia at all first before that?
No,
Oh, okay.
because I ain't gonna lie, a lot of stuff happened last year to the point where my health got kind of bad. So I had to kind of sit down for a while and get my health under
Oh, okay.
control. But I plan, to actually perform, hopefully this year. I'm really just taking that performing and traveling, slow and just going with the flow. instead of rushing to do too. I was trying to do too much last year.
Yeah, I feel you. Health is always first, so that's good. You took that step back to get your health right. That's what's up. And as
Right.
far as you have another song on there that I wanted to ask about. Set It Off. Um, that song, was it inspired by the movie Set It Off? I always wanted to ask you that.
Oh no, but a lot
Okay.
of people thought they hear the title of it, and a lot of people ask me that. No, it was just a song that I made with my son's mom. She's
Hmm.
not actually an artist. I just told her one day get in the studio, and she actually got in the studio, and so it's basically a song, a love song between me when me and her was together. So yeah,
Okay, that's really
yeah.
cool. And mentioned son. It's, happy Father's Day, happy belated Father's Day.
Thank
Um,
you.
I did notice that in some of your interviews, you did mention you have a pendant with your dad on there. How has um, your dad's memory influenced your music?
A lot, cause the name Young Nicky that's come from his name. His name's Nicholas, and
Hmm.
everybody say my friends, and my family say that I'm gonna spit an image of him, and so to keep him, to me to keep his name alive, I call myself Young Nicky, just because I feel like it got a ring to it. Yeah, and so that's what the pendant came about, and I try to do everything I'm doing with music, my merch or anything, about my family, family based, because I'm really, doing this all for them. So yeah.
That's what's up. And rest in peace to your dad. Um, I do want to ask you about your merch. I noticed you have some T-shirts out, and how are you wanting to expand on your merch? In the coming months, years.
I actually wanna, like go out. It could be in Seattle, do pop-up shops with my merch. I know a couple people, connected with a couple people out here. I actually want to host a fashion show. Probably not this year, but
Like,
next year. Because I know people, I know models, that's said they're ready to model my clothes and stuff. And yeah, like I said, I know a lot of connections, and so that's probably what my merch is. Do a fashion show. I also got offered to put my merch in stores in Seattle. So I'm getting ready to do that actually this year, probably in a couple months. And like
type.
I just been worried about kind of worried about just worried about promoting my merch more, and trying to get to the business side of things. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's really exciting that stores are approaching, it, when when the stores approached you about having your merch in their store, was it from like you wearing it or somebody they know that was wearing it? Is that how that came about, or is
They
it
just think
something?
they follow me on Instagram, and they seen all the
Oh, okay.
collections. I think it was the first collection I put out.
Nice.
They reached out to me. It was like, yeah, we can put your merch in our stores, and we'll pay you to actually put it in our stores too. And so, which is
That's
to
what's
me
up.
is I'm getting recognition, and and making a little bit of money off of it. So
Yeah,
that's kind of dope. You know,
most stuff. That really is.
right.
Congratulations on that. That's really cool. What's the name of
Thank
your
you.
clothing line?
It's not a clothing line. It's just merch based off on music. So
Oh, okay.
I got for the versatile album. I got the versatile album tees and hoodies, as you can see, and it got the cover of the
Okay, nice.
versatile EP on the front of the merch and the back. And so then I got the Set It Off ladies collection, and that basically is based off my single Set It Off the EP too.
Okay, nice. And how
Yeah.
can people
So
order your merch?
you can go to my merch and music
You went
slash.
So
collections.
it's muted. It doesn't show that
Oh,
you muted here, but I can't hear you.
you can hear me?
Okay, now I can.
Oh, it's mymerchandmusic.com/collection/young Nicky. And most of the merch I got on there for collections of the merchandise I got on there. It got all
Okay,
colors in it, and it got all sizes too. So basically, you're probably everybody who try to get a different size or a different color of the merch, you'll probably find what you're looking for because basically we got it all, It's like now I'm trying to work on, actually putting out like pants and stuff like that, move on shoes, move on to, other things too.
nice. That's what's up. Okay. And as far as Young World, can you tell us, is Young World um like your, is it like, do you have your own
That's like
label by the name of Young World?
I'm that's what I'm trying to, plan to do is call it Young World Entertainment and help, because I know a couple of, artists up and coming in this generation and help people, put people on. I got cousins, that's younger than me that, that's just started rapping. So and now, I feel like, it's just, I'm getting older, so I think it's time to, kind of sit down and let the younger generation take over and, give them the roast and,
Okay.
yeah.
I think
So
that's a
Young
cool
World is,
concept. Yeah.
yeah, basically it's like a brand. It's like that's basically my brand, because, I am not 90s baby,
Okay.
but I'm getting older. So I'm kind of like, stuck in the middle of the younger generation, older. But I want to help the, younger generation,
Um.
you know, uh,
Okay. Sorry, there was something going on with the sound for a moment. I'm not sure if you heard it on your side, but it's gone now. Sorry about
mm,
that. Okay. So okay, so for your brand Young World, and you say you have some family members that also do music, is do they also have, like, within Young World, do they have, like, do their names start with the word, I'm just, this is just me, y'all know I'm being silly sometimes, but do their names also start with the word young, like everybody in Young World, does their name start with young, or is it like everybody just has different names within the Young World brand? um your your video froze up. Are you still there? Young Nikki, you still there? We're gonna give young Nikki a moment. I'm not sure what happened to his video. We're gonna give him a moment to see if he can. It might be the location. Sometimes the location does that, but do apologize for that. But he'll be back. So until he's back, we do have some of our topics that we were going to be discussing today. There's one that I wanted to talk about that I didn't get a chance to mention to y'all last week, and that was with respect to BET Awards. Young Thug and Mariah the Scientist, they like kind of shook things up because of their red carpet appearance. And I want y'all to check this out. Let us know what you think in the comments while we're waiting for young Nikki to rejoin us. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out this clip from their red carpet at the BET Awards.
Oh, thank you so much. I love your music. I love you.
So yeah, that was kind of an odd interaction at the BET Awards. First of all, his mask. Everybody was talking about his mask. Why was he wearing that mask? And then other people were saying, why was he? he seemed like he was kind of pulling Mariah down the BET Awards red carpet. Seemed like somebody was trying to get her to, do an interview with them, and she seemed like she wanted to do an interview, but he was like, "Nah," and he threw up a sign, the "fu" sign to them, and like they kept walking. So, um, there was like a lot of speculation about him, kind of like controlling her and not wanting her to be at her best, type of thing. um, I did want to bring that up in particular because we did cover the BET Awards the past 2 weekends. We had covered the nominees, and then we had covered the winners. And then we also had touch base on some of the trending moments during the BET Awards. So that was one trending moment that we didn't get to cover last week. But yeah, let us know what y'all think in the comments. I mean, me personally, I thought it was kind of interesting that, first of all, she handled it very well. I think when you see something like that publicly with the couple, it kind of shows that, um, it shows their demeanor within the relationship. And she really kept her cool. She kept it ladylike. She stayed with her man, and she was like, "Okay, okay, baby, I'm not gonna do it right now." But she was still turning, to let the people know, like, "Hey, I'm interested in this interview, so maybe we could do it after, but not right now with my man." So that's a vibe I got from Mariah the Scientist from that. And then with Young Thug, it seemed like he was just over the whole day before they even got there. Like he seemed to have some type of attitude when they first got there. I saw clips from when before he had put the mask on, and then leading up to after he had the mask on. He just seemed like he was just done. So, but yeah, that was something I did want to bring up again about that. And again, we're still waiting for young Nicky to hopefully join us back on the live. There were some technical difficulties, but we did also have trending topics to talk about today as well. So I do want to go ahead and speak on. Let's talk about, and I wish we had a clip of this one. We don't have a clip of this one, but I do want to talk about Cardi B and Offset because, and I'm just pulling up. There's a picture of her I like to show when I'm talking about her. Yeah, here we go. Well, yeah, Cardi B and Offset. As y'all know, she's with Stephon Diggs right now from the NFL. But and she also just released a new track. So her new track is called Outside. She just released that yesterday. So congratulations to her on her track. She was trending this week though because, and I don't know why I said Offset first, because she actually wasn't trending because of Offset. She was trending because of her new track. So that's number one. But then in addition to that, she was trending because she was saying that her record label has been checking up on her. As y'all know, it's been years since she put out a like an album. Like they're waiting on her album. And so she was trending because she said that the record label has been checking up on her every 2 to 3 weeks to make sure that she's still making music. And apparently, I don't know what her contract is like, but apparently there was some concern that she, was taking a long time. I know the fans are waiting for the song. They're waiting for the music, but the label also seems to be waiting for the music because she was like, yeah, they call me every 2 to 3 weeks to make sure I'm in the studio making that music. So I thought that was interesting that she said that, and then right after that, that led up to this track being released. A lot of times artists they'll do like pre-promo of their music, and I felt like that was something that she had said to kind of like get her fans ready for this song. I do think the song is it's a cool song. You're definitely going to hear it on the radio this summer. A lot of people were like, "Man, is this the new song of the summer?" I wouldn't necessarily say that about the track, but it does have that type of vibe. But it's more along like the twerk song type vibe, and I'm not quite sure, given the current climate of the industry right now, it seems like people are kind of like moving away from that trend. So I wouldn't necessarily say it is the song of the summer, but it is a good track that you should check out as far as like club track if you're into going to the club or just getting hype, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's definitely something that's going on. She was also later trending in the week because Offset, her ex, he had went and he was seen in the club with Stefan Diggs' ex girlfriend, and it's just a big mess, So Cardi, she had went live, and, made a statement about that. Um, she's basically not liking the fact that Offset seems to be trolling her relationship by getting with her current boyfriend's ex girlfriend. That's really messy. And to me, it's definitely like a feminine trait. He definitely is trying to play some games. A lot of people are like, oh, he's playing chess. And I'm like, I don't know about chess. That just seems like he's just trying to be messy. Like, I haven't seen Offset do anything that's chess like, chess player like. But that's on them. He also has a new release this week that happened on the same day as hers, and his is called Bodies, and it's featuring JID. But we do have Young Nicky back, so let's go ahead and bring him back up to the stage. Here we go. Hey, what's up, Young Nicky? Thank you
Well,
for rejoining us.
uh, yeah, my phone died. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Oh, no worries. Oh, looks like he jumped again, but he'll probably be right back. Yeah, I mean, I know how it is. And believe me, I know how it is having a phone on low battery, and then it dies at the worst the worst moment. But I'm sure he'll be right back. Just got to stay up on that charger. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, we'll get him back shortly. But yeah, I mean, Offset, he was just doing some everything. I feel like Offset just needs to chill. I was actually happy though, because he was also trending for something good. He had reunited with Quavo. It was also Takeoffs. Rest in peace to Takeoff. From the Migos, but Offset and Quavo, they had reunited to celebrate, Takeoff. So that was really cool to see as well. And Young Nicky is back. So let's go ahead and bring him back on stage. Let's see if we can get a solid connection with Young Nicky. But we'll give it a second. Looks like his video's loading up. But yeah, let's go. Okay, here we go. Let's bring Young Nicky back to the stage. Welcome back. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you. My
Okay.
phone died.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
that's okay. Are you good now? Is it charged up and everything? We good to go?
Yeah, yeah, I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good.
Okay, cool. All
All
right.
right.
But yeah, I think where we left off, we were talking about your clothing line, and oh yeah, I'm sorry, Young World. We were talking about Young World, and I wanted to ask you. Well, there was a question I asked you, but now that I think about it, I'm like, that was a silly question. So I want to ask you a different question about it. But Young World, I would like to know, like, where do you see yourself headed with Young World, like within the next year? Since you said you have, family members that also do music.
Um, Next year, probably, do some music, with younger artists, like I said, with my cousin, he go by Day Day. Um, he actually make beats, and so we was talking yesterday about, actually, him making some couple beats, and we get on songs with each other and put them out on all platforms, shoot videos for him. Cause he's on the type of time I am, basically want to do everything on his own. And so he was like, why not come together and we can, bring, more people in and, make this, a collaboration.
That'd be really cool.
Yes.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, anytime you have a producer slash beat maker on the team, that's really nice right there. That's really nice.
Right.
And speaking of beats, I did well, not really speaking of beats, but considering I did really like your "Make It Last Forever." You know, as we know, that's the behind the scenes of that song is the Keith Sweat classic track. But I wanted to ask you, how did that come about? Like, what made you decide to rap over that particular beat and "Make It Last Forever"?
Um, cause I grew up on old school music, and I wanted to, give something to the old generation. Cause my mom loved that song too, and so when I I heard she loved that song, I was like, okay, this is gonna be the first song I remix. And so yeah, basically, give the old generation something, but with my new generation swag. So yeah, that's how that came about. And actually, I got merch out, tie dye merch in all colors, hoodies and T-shirts for that song. I put out on
Okay.
420. So yeah, and yeah, and yeah, that song "Make It Last Forever." People still give me compliments off of that. And yeah, and that's basically the type of music I grew up on, like classic music,
Yeah,
timeless music. Yeah,
that's what's up. And where can we find that song? Like what platforms?
you can find that. It's on Spotify, Tidal, Apple, all major platforms. The
Okay.
video for it, the video I made for it is on my YouTube page too, and also you can find it on my YouTube page too. But it's all out on all platforms.
That's what's up. I noticed that one did definitely seem like your fan base gravitated to that track a lot. I saw what over 2,000, almost 3,000 views just on YouTube alone for that song. It is really catchy. I
Right.
like I like your cadence on that song in particular for sure. And
Thank you.
how do you decide when you make music? How do you decide what type of cadence that you do want to use for a particular track? Do you have to listen to the song a few times, or do you already
I
have the idea?
I had to listen to the beat. Yeah, because Make It Last Forever kind of took me a while. It took almost like 2 months just to record, just because I felt like it's a classic song, and the way I was rapping fast on it, and so yeah, so I feel like listen to I got to listen to a beat over and over again and catch a vibe to it, and whatever vibe I feel, that's what I'm gonna put in a song.
Okay, that's what's up. And I noticed in your last interview with us, when you asked who your inspirations were, you had named Nipsey Hussle, Young Dolph, Killer Mike, um, and then you had later mentioned J. Cole. I wanted to ask, out of all of those four, who would be your number one?
Um, all those four, I say J. Cole, just
Oh, really?
because he's more conscious, and yeah, I believe I'm conscious, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just he's still himself. How he can stay he's still relevant. He's a conscious rapper, but there's a lot of mainstream, artists that actually are not, conscious rapper that you didn't hear him make songs with. So I say him because he's kind of found his niche, and kind of staying in his lane. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And speaking of niche, I know that you have your EP called Versatile, to kind of display that you have different styles that you can rap. But what would you say would be like you want your niche to be known as far as style?
Um, Style kind of laid back, smooth. Um, people say I'm kind of, my peers say I'm quiet, in person. So I'm kind of mysterious. People don't know. I don't think. sometimes people don't know what to expect out of me because they don't know, what I'm thinking or what I got planned with music. So a lot of people they ask me all the time, when you gonna drop videos or merch or what are you doing this and oh I see you doing this and sometimes they be like, yeah, sometimes they be like, yeah, you're kind of moving in a way that, independent and you kind of got that down to a science. So like, yeah, mysterious because you never know what I'm planning to do. Yeah,
Okay, I like that. I mean, mysterious is always good because you never know what, like you said, don't know what to expect really. So you can
right,
surprise your fans. And one thing I have noticed about your fans is that they seem to gravitate to your whole story. Because you have the videos that you where you're like just telling your life story, and I noticed that
right,
they really seem to like that. And so it seems like no matter what type of style you tend to go with your music, they're going to definitely just feel it because it's you. And I like that about your
right.
style as an artist. Yeah. And as far as um if a major label ever did approach you, I know like in the past interview you did say you might consider possibly signing if it was a good partnership deal or yeah, basically a good partnership deal or distribution deal.
Right.
But I wanted to ask, like, could you describe what your perfect deal, like, if a major label did approach you, what would be like a perfect deal for you?
Basically, like I said, somebody came to me a deal, um, probably, owning, I get to own my masters, like publishing, like I said in the last interview, like a di- dis- distribution deal. I'd rather take that instead of, just signing the deal. So I can actually keep, keep hold to my creativity. That's what I want, out of if somebody came to me with a deal, it just I can be able to drop music or drop whatever I want, do whatever I want to, but still, have a major machine behind me. Yeah,
Most definitely. I like that answer. And congratulations on your nominations. You've been nominated for several different awards, even won some awards, Yo ATL Rap Awards. I wanted to ask, as far
right.
as like getting your music out to those audiences, because I mean, you're in Seattle and Atlanta, that's all the way on the other side of the US. So, what has been your best method of like getting your
Right.
music out to those audiences?
Social media, I've been using that, like especially my YouTube. I've been using that to my advantage because nowadays technology is everything, and you can actually make money off of every platform now. So yeah, just pushing my stuff out there and not afraid to, go follow people on social media that's out of town, instead of just my city. Because, my vision is young world entertainment. So, I'm trying to reach the world. I'm not trying to just, reach the block. And so, yeah, just social media and pushing, pushing myself, and keep constantly, putting content out. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, social media is a very powerful tool. So that's really good that you're using
right.
it to your advantage for sure. You had mentioned a while back that you were interested in doing a deluxe EP to your versatile EP. Is that still in
Yeah.
the works? And what type of sound can we expect from that?
Um, yeah, it's in the works. I'm actually thinking about dropping later on this year. Um, just because, like I said, everything's about my family. It's kind of special to me. So I'd rather, wait till, I get done what I'm doing right now and then later on drop it. But just the sound, basically, just like how this EP versatile sound, just a versatile sound, me just displaying, rapping on different, trying different beats and, different hooks and, you know, working with different producers and stuff like that. you may see a feature with a artist or two on it, that I met through the years, and yeah. So I'm thinking about dropping that probably later on this year, around November or December.
Okay, nice. That's what's up. And you do have a birthday coming up. I heard that June 30th is your birthday, so happy early birthday. Do you have any
Thank you.
special birthday plans?
No, not really. I'm actually coming out with a trailer to my next music video, and I've been working on this. People. It's been a couple of years since I actually dropped a video, just because life got in the way. I had to really kind of be there for my family since we lost loved ones, so I kind of push everything back just to make sure my health is okay. But I feel like I would I wouldn't be an artist or who I am to my fans if I didn't drop something, on my birthday. And so, yeah, I'm getting ready to actually drop the trailer to the next video. And actually, yeah, for my birthday,
Nice.
which it will be out, yeah, on June 30th. It will be out on my YouTube page at 6:30 a.m. And
Nice.
yeah, so I'm getting ready to gear up to shoot more videos, you know, photo shoots and stuff like that, and continue what I couldn't do last year because of my health. Now that I'm healthy, my birthday's around the corner, and it's the summer in Seattle. It's nice out here when it's the summer, so it's the perfect time to drop music and do what an artist do. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be really nice. Okay, that's what's up. All right, looking forward to that drop on your birthday. That's what's up. And as far as mentioned Seattle again, and it makes me wonder. Like, okay, so Seattle. I want to ask you about like your food preferences out there. So, is there a particular restaurant you like in the Seattle area? Like your favorite restaurant out there, anything? Because I know it's like what known for like seafood out there. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah. I live on Capitol Hill. I like chicken,
Okay.
like wings. They just opened a wing stop up here, and
Oh,
so
okay.
I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, I say that's probably my favorite. But there's also, you know, Dick's that been here, which is burgers and fries, and milkshakes. That's one of my favorites too, and that's
Okay.
probably kind of legendary to everybody in Seattle, because you'll go to Dick's, and I can go walk down the street um to Dick's right now, and there'll probably be a line just because it's kind of famous, you know, in
Oh,
Seattle.
okay.
It's
Nice.
kind of like everybody's go to. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. That's what's up.
Mhm.
All right. And as far as your um for somebody that would visit Seattle, what would you say is the best like tourist type spot out there?
There's a waterfront, and where the we got a Ferris wheel at the waterfront. We got an aquarium, different, even a arcade. Um, what else? There's the Seattle Center. There's a where Seattle Center at the Space Needle. We also got a troll. It's like a clay troll they build. It's like an actual troll. It's under a bridge, but it's like a
Oh,
sculpture. That's good. I've been there, plenty of times. There's a lot to do in Seattle, especially in the summer. There's a lot of events, going on. So, and I love where I stay out on Capitol Hill because, I can walk down, you can walk down the street, and sometimes in the summer, and there's events going on and stuff like that. Yeah.
nice. All right. And I do also have with it being the Rep My Block show, I wanted to ask you just a couple questions about, things that's been trending the past. Well, this one's been trending some weeks now. I did want to ask you about the Diddy trial, like the whole thing with Diddy. the charges that he has and stuff. Right now, he's what this is. I think this is what the fifth week of the trial,
Right,
if not
right,
mistaken. So, I
yeah,
mean, what are you thinking so far? Because before the trial, before he was in custody at all, I mean, he was known to be, hip hop legend, a great in the industry. And like with this trial, it's definitely tainted his legacy. Um, what do you think about that? Like just the fact that this trial came at a certain time of his career where he might have been in this, at the height of his career, and how
right.
it's impacted him.
I think it's unfortunate because he influenced a lot of people, a lot of people, he put a lot of people on. And, I think, I don't know, I think the hip hop community, in general is probably hurt, by it, not to say, accuse him of anything, but, it's not looking good for him. Like I said, he influenced a lot of people, to, you know, make music, come out with, their own alcohol, drink, or, clothing line, yeah, so it's kind of, I think it crushed a lot of people just, knowing was what's going on, what's been going on for all these years. But they've been saying it for years since the 90s, that Puffy, was doing this, doing that. But I think everybody ignored the signs until it got to the point where it got to the point where, Cassie got fed up and, you know, and said something about it. Yeah. But I think it's very unfortunate because, I didn't listen to, his music or, the artists that he had, especially, you know, knowing that he signed, Notorious B.I.G. And, they're saying, he might have, took from his artists or, having, a lot of messy stuff going on inside his business. Yeah, it's just very unfortunate because, he's a icon. He was a legend. So I think people are hurt more they is mad. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, so I know that I want to say the verdict is going to be coming up in a couple weeks. The defense, they have their side because the prosecution, they just went through their part of the trial, and then the defense has, they have some witnesses they'll bring up as well. But if if he does, again, not trying to say either way whether he's going to be presumed innocent or guilty. How do you feel? I mean, or how do you think that the industry overall might treat him after this whole ordeal? Whether he is presumed innocent or guilty.
I think there's gonna be some people who, is not gonna talk to him no more. But there's also everybody who basically had a hand in his trial or witnesses. I think, they're gonna um probably, make a U-turn because um Trump is our president. Trump said Diddy, no matter what he get caught, he found guilty of these charges, he's just gonna pardon him.
He said that.
So yeah, and so yeah, so
I
it's
didn't know
like
he said that. Okay.
I feel like maybe, hopefully, they just don't find him guilty and, Trump pardon him because, Diddy still got power. And maybe, Trump said he was gonna pardon Diddy because he got some dirt on, Diddy got some dirt on him. They said, dude is powerful and dangerous. So I think, he might, if he get come if he found guilty of it, there's people that's gonna still rock with him. There's people that ain't gonna talk to him, but there's gonna be people that probably turn against him and probably, and and want to be on his side just because they say he's dangerous or whatever. Yeah,
Hmm. Well, I mean,
and
that's definitely
hopefully,
interesting.
right. Hopefully, Trump doesn't pardon him because if he is guilty, I think he should, he should be locked up, because he kind of full of the hip hop community. Like I said, a lot of people are just hurt. I don't think they're mad. Yeah, I just think a lot of people are hurt.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely rocked up the industry. I'll say that because you have the artists that are being completely silent about it, not saying nothing. Like they're not saying nothing. I've seen some like um French Montana, for instance. He was, they had stopped him at the airport and asked him some questions about it or tried to, and he just started walking away like he didn't even hear the question. So you have
Right.
artists like that, and then you have other artists that are speaking up, saying things.
Mm.
Some of the ones that have actually testified, like Kid Cudi, and then
Right.
yeah. So I mean, it's definitely shaking up the industry because I mean, there are songs I didn't even know Diddy was like a part of it all that are coming
Yeah.
out lately. That I'm like, what he was, I'm like, I didn't know he was even involved in that song. So
Yeah.
it's definitely been a shock.
Yeah.
I'll definitely say that for sure. And
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the pardon, I had heard that he didn't, he hasn't asked for a pardon. Like, well, first of all, there some people were saying there's like a conflict of interest for any president to like pre-pardon somebody that hasn't even
Right.
received a verdict.
Yeah.
And then in addition, I did hear that that he hadn't asked for a pardon, but if he had, if he does ask for a pardon, then it might be considered. And it's like,
Right.
a lot of people, that's where you get like when you get the politics into all that, it's like, yeah. But I mean, you
Right.
might have something there where you said there might be something that that he has against somebody that I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of
Yeah.
rumors right now circulating, and it's
Right.
just crazy. But I do
Yeah.
appreciate your opinion on that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, as far as your music and where people can find, find your music, can you let us know that?
You can find my music all platforms. Just type in Young Nicky, Young, and the Nicky is spelled Nicky, and you can follow me on my YouTube at Young Nicky. You can also follow me on Twitter at Young Nicky 1990. At Young Nicky 1990 on Twitter, Born to Lose but Built to Win on Instagram and Facebook, and also TikTok, um, at Young Nicky 1990. And I'm also going to start streaming on Twitch because I've been seeing, a lot of people start streaming, and that's another revenue, to get money. I follow this dude named called DDG who had a son by Holly Berry, and he's like kind of taking off with it. And
Yeah, Halle Bailey. Uh huh.
yeah, so I got a Twitch now, so you can follow me at Twitch at Young Nicky 1992.
Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, that streamer university that KeyIce had, and a
Right.
DDG there, and all those other streamers. I mean, it definitely opened a lot of people's eyes to the streaming world for sure. Because I mean, it there used to be like a stigma with streamers that most of them had to do gaming, but I mean,
Right.
it's way bigger than gaming now because they're like going to different spots, getting sponsorships to go to different businesses. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's really cool that you're open to exploring that world for sure.
Yeah. I'm basically like, it's like, trying to basically put my whole life into everything I'm doing. Just like with the
Yeah,
Twitch, you could wake up and go online and start, you start streaming and and get, a different crowd too.
right.
Basically
Yeah,
I'm
younger
working
crowd.
on yeah, um basically I'm working on, kind of reinventing myself a little bit, and
Okay.
but and stepping kind of trying to step out my box, and do bigger things. And I think Twitch would and streaming will probably be the starter for that.
Yeah, for sure. Most definitely. One more question I forgot to ask you at the beginning was because you had mentioned that your uncle was a piano player, and I wanted to ask if you had ever, do you play any instruments yourself? Have you ever played any instruments or know how to?
Um, in middle school, I played the trombone,
Trombone?
but
Okay.
yeah, but I want to actually. I told my uncle about teach me how to play the piano. I want to, you know, I want to make a song, rapping and just, the piano playing, because
Hmm.
you see that with I mean, you see that with Drake and stuff, other people, but that's something that I always wanted to do, just so
Yeah,
I can have a skill. Yeah,
that'd be real tight. That'd be real tight.
right.
Okay. Well, we really do appreciate you for joining us again today. And when you drop your deluxe EP, we would love to have you come back and speak on that as well. But again, really appreciate your time. Appreciate you
Okay.
being a guest with us today. And is there anything you want to say before, uh, to your fans or family that might be watching?
Oh, make sure you guys get the new collection of merchandise, um, which is which is based off my first single, "Make It Last Forever." It's tie dye. It got tie dye colors, and we got tees and hoodies, and yeah, all different colors and sizes. And you guys can find that at mymerchantmusic.com/collection// Nicky. And I also might drop another collection this summer around August. I'm not sure yet. It's still been being talked about and planned. But yeah. But for sure dropping the trailer to my next video on my birthday on my YouTube page, which is Young Nicky. So make sure you guys subscribe and stay tuned. Yeah.
That's what's up. All right. Well, again, really appreciate you for joining us today. And I hope you have a great rest of the weekend.
All right, you too.
Thank you so much. Thanks. That's what's up. Young Nicky joined us today on the Rep My Black show. Really appreciate him for stopping by with us today. We do have some additional topics to talk about because a lot had happened this past week in urban entertainment. And before we go ahead and do that, I want to go ahead and play. There was another trending clip that this was from the BET Awards. This was Kaisenat and Wale. And I wanted to show this one again because some people were kind of like, who's Kaisenat? But I want y'all to see this clip because it kind of shows you like how tables kind of turn in the industry where, well, you'll see it. I'm going to just play the clip. But here's a clip from Kai Sinat and Wale meeting at the BET Awards.
What up, Rusty? You good? What you playing on your Nintendo Switch?
Smash.
Smash Bros? I'll beat you. Alright, gang. Chad, does anybody have the Nintendo Switch? You're not even a Nintendo Switch type of nigga. Nah, me neither. I ain't gonna lie. But I heard it was like crazy though. I heard it was crazy, bro. Wally. Oh my God, that was somebody crazy. Hey, the whole chat knows him.
Wale.
Wale? What he do?
Rap.
Oh, word?
Like Lotus Flower Bomb or something?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Kai Cenat, some of y'all know because I later found out a lot of people still don't know who Kai Cenat is. But Kai Cenat, he is a really big streamer over on Twitch. He also has his YouTube page. He used to go live on YouTube, but then he got a major deal with Twitch, and now he mainly goes live over on Twitch. But he'll post the videos over to YouTube still. And then Wale, the rapper Wale. Wale is actually from Washington, D.C. A lot of people were like, man, how does Kai Cenat not know who Wale is? And one thing that a lot of people forget, because Kai Cenat actually is, like, his parents are immigrants. And so even though he's black, a lot of people like, oh, he's black, he should know who he is, but his parents are immigrants, and so the music he grew up with in his household probably wasn't like the traditional African American music, or his parents probably just weren't into rap. A lot of parents are not into rap, and so people were not understanding how he didn't know who Wale was. But I'm gonna go ahead and show this other clip because Kai also ran into, well, actually, Wale came up to Kai later that evening. And I'm going to get to a point after this. That's why I'm reshowing it because we showed this last week too. But I want to show this part of the clip as well. And then I'll get into my point.
That shit making me look crazy right now. Just letting you know.
What?
That's making me look crazy. The exchange that we had in the hallway. It's
Oh,
like,
my bad, bro.
they running with it, but we'll talk later.
Ah, man. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Okay, so you saw the second part of the clip where Wale, he felt a certain way because Kai did not know who he was. Mind you, Kai was streaming during the whole BET Awards. So Wale approached him later during the actual BET Awards show while he was talking to Snoop Dogg. Was like, hey man, this wasn't cool type of thing. But one point I wanted to bring up with all of this is that it's interesting how the tables kind of turn. When I say that, I mean, you could be a regular person, as Kai Cenat is / was, and then you get yourself a platform. You get yourself a platform. You become more popular, well known. You become AKA celebrity status, and then you have people that used to be more known, like Wale. Um, I'm just using him as an example because that was one of the recent things that happened. But you have people like him that because his song, the Lotus Flower song, that actually that was many years ago. So you have people like him that think, okay, that song is going to kind of, I'm not saying he's thinking that way, but just the mentality from what it appears to be was that, okay, I have this popular song, nobody's ever going to forget me type of thing. But then you have people like Kai Cenat come along who don't ever know who he is. And so my whole point in saying this is just that, I mean, being mindful about who you are is really important in the music industry, in the entertainment industry, because this is happening a lot lately where there's music artists, they're starting to feel a certain type of way because streamers are coming along. And this actually comes this starts to head into where India Love, who's a streamer, she's been tied to DDG lately, and as he's been referring to her as his ball or whatever. I think that term's silly, but it kind of brings you into, because she was saying, she was like, I think streamers are bigger than artists, but it makes you think of, it makes you see the different views, because you do have the streamer world. Streamers, they're like, if y'all have ever seen streams, like that whole vibe is way different from just the standard typical music industry. And that's why so many artists, music artists, are trying to get in on that streaming community, because that community, man, when they start to follow you and they're real loyal to you, they're loyal. Like they don't play. They'll buy subscriptions. They'll tell you how it is. Like they will buy a subscription just to get the streamers. Sorry, this is my dogs. They will buy a subscription just to get the streamers' attention and tell them something. Like that's how deep the streaming community is. Whereas you have the music industry, they want like free music. Like a lot of the music listeners are like, I want to listen to my music. This is my song, but I want to listen to it for free type of thing. They're not as willing to come out their pockets with the money. So I think there's like a shift going on, and then you have this added AI stuff going on. But I just wanted to bring that up because that's something really important to like just observe that's been going on lately. But we do have some other topics I just want to touch base on before we close today. Nicki Minaj recently went live with Lil Wayne. She went live last night. It was like in the wee hours of the night, a little bit after midnight. Her and Lil Wayne, they were on a live on her Instagram. and she was trying to get him to do a TikTok, but um, Lil Wayne, he was like standing behind her, and he was talking about all this other stuff. He's like, she, I was like, oh girl, you have his problems trying to get him to do it because like you know how if y'all watch Nicki's lives, she just she go on, she's always looking cute, so she go on, she be fixing her hair and stuff like that. But Lil Wayne was standing behind her, and so you could tell she was trying to get to a point. She was trying to make a point, because they just did the band from No remix, which she's on, um, from his Carter 6 album, and so I could tell that that was mainly what she was trying to do. But then he was he was behind her. He was like saying all this different stuff. But one story that he did tell, and we actually posted this story in our YouTube shorts, and it's also on our Facebook, so you could check it out. He was telling her about they saw Swiss Beats join the live, and so they were like, "Hey, what's up, Swiss?" And then he started telling her a story about how Swiss Beats does camel races and how he wins the camel races. I was like, this is so random. Like Lil Wayne was so random with it. But it was a really cool story. But he also yeah, he was saying he had a lot of little mini stories that he was telling during that live. It was probably about a 10-minute live or so. But what she was trying to do at the end, she finally was able to announce. She was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this TikTok. Me and Wayne, we're gonna do this TikTok." And so I'm thinking, okay, they're gonna have this big TikTok at the end of all this. And so today she posts a TikTok and she puts it on her other socials. But it's not what we were expecting. I was expecting somebody dancing because she was like, "We're gonna do it to ban from the NO." And she was like, "My job, we have never been banned from the NO." She wanted to make sure, everybody knew that. But anyway, when she posted the video, Lil Wayne, he just posted up. Like I was like, because she was like, he don't, she gave us a heads up. She was like, "Y'all, he don't like to do TikToks." And it was clear that he was just standing. He was just standing. He wasn't trying to dance at all. I was actually getting excited when I saw their live. I was like, yeah, she's gonna get him to do a little TikTok dance, but no, Lil Wayne wasn't having it. He was just standing there during the she put the music behind it and stuff, but he was literally just standing there. But anyway, shout out to Nicki Minaj, by the way. But Lil Wayne, shout out to him too. He does have his Carter 6 album that's out right now, and I don't have a clip of this, but his daughter, Reginae Carter, she had posted a video, and she was getting on fans about like why some of them were saying they didn't like his new Carter 6 album. And she was basically saying, just because you can't do a TikTok to it, don't mean it's not good. Da, 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 da. She was really getting on people. She was telling the truth though. I'm like, just because a song you don't feel like you could do a quick TikTok to it, don't mean it's not good. Because he does have a good solid album. It actually debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200. So congratulations to Lil Wayne. I was like, yeah, I got a Billboard 200 number 2. You know what I'm saying? I was surprised that it did debut at number 2, just given the fact that so many people in the hip hop community didn't like the album. But clearly, the album, it did demonstrate the fact that he's very versatile. He could, he had a lot of different sounds in that album. And I already knew when I heard that Jelly Roll hit, that Sharks Jelly Roll hit, I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna place kind of high. I just didn't expect him to get as high as number 2 on Billboard, but yeah, he debuted at number 2. So y'all can stop talking smack about his album. Y'all can stop talking about his album. I mean, it's gonna be on the radio, even if you don't hear it on the hip hop stations. You're gonna be hearing it on some of the pop stations because you got Sharks. Sharks could be pop or hip hop, and I think Lil Wayne was thinking ahead when he did his album. A lot of people were like, man, it seemed like he just rushed through the album. And I was like, no, it looked like he planned the album carefully because he made sure he got a little bit, he sampled some of everything. Then he also has the hip hop / rock track on there. So I mean, yeah, he did his thing with the album regardless. You have to be somebody that's like that you like all different types of music though. Like if you're just into hip hop only, then no, you wouldn't have been feeling it. But if you were into some of everything, then yeah, you would have been feeling the album. Again, congratulations to Lil Wayne on reaching the Billboard 200. And Drake, when Nicki and Lil Wayne, when they went live last night, everybody's like, "Where's Jake?" Because she was like, "Yeah, Young Money in the building." You know what I'm saying? They were like, "Where's Jake? Where's Jake?" So of course, Drake, he's doing his own thing right now. Jake is on his steak stuff, y'all. He's he's part owner of or it has a large investment into steak. So he's on his steak stuff. That was the last video I saw him post about anything. But he's definitely also working on his um he's also working on his Some Sexy Songs for You tour that they're him and Party Next Door, they're about to take overseas. So they're gearing up for that because that's going to be coming here real soon. I want to say end of July, going into August. They're going to be touring overseas. And then he has the Somebody Loves Me music video coming out real soon. So my projection on that is that the most likely will come out with that video right before that tour starts. I'm thinking mid-July, but it might come out a little sooner. I don't know. I'm thinking mid-July. I don't think they're going to put it out before the 4th. Not at all. Speaking of holidays, I'll mention at the end because I didn't say it at the beginning, so I feel kind of bad about that. But let's talk about R. Kelly real quick because R. Kelly was also trending this past week as he was the week before because he was trending more this week because people started finding out about it. I know some of y'all be watching this show. Yeah, y'all be watching this show, then y'all be like, "Oh yeah, this happened," and you go post it on your page. But that's all good because, I mean, it's all love. We're here to let you know what's going on. When we see, when we see something that's been trending, then we shed light on it. And then yeah, if you got your platforms, definitely pick up that topic and post it on your platform. Don't copy exactly what the way we write it because some people do that. But yeah, anyway, R. Kelly was trending because he okay, I mean, this was more serious because he was. Oh, okay, this is a long one. I talked about it last week, so if you were tuned in last week, you hear I talked about it in more detail than I'm going to talk about it right now. But basically, his legal team have filed an emergency motion for him to be released into home detention. So he wanted to basically get out of prison and go home, like in a home detention service sentence there, because he was saying that his life was being threatened. There were planned attempts on his life, and allegedly it was by prison staff. And so that's what his team was saying. They presented it to the judge. The judge took a look at it Friday. Yeah, it was this Friday. And the judge, or was it Thursday? I'm sorry, but it was this week. And so the judge ruled that they denied the motion for him to actually get released to home confinement. And so that was a bummer for his fans because they felt like, man, he really was, he actually had gone into the hospital earlier in the week because his team was saying that the prison staff had given him an overdose of medication. He already was being treated for anxiety, which he had his medicine for that. But in addition to his anxiety medicine, they were saying the prison staff had given him more medication than he needed outside of his anxiety medication. So, and he was also in solid. He was also in confinement. So he was in confinement alone, and then solitary confinement is the word I'm thinking. I'm sorry, solitary confinement. But in addition to that, they gave him additional medication that led to his overdose, and he was, they sped him to the hospital. He was seen, evaluated by doctors at the hospital. The doctor advised that, hey, he's going to need surgery in his leg for blood clots. but it was denied by the prison staff, and it's all alleged. We're going by the sources that we have, which were major sources, by the way. But um, that's what happened. The judge ended up saying, "Hey, we feel like the fact that the prison put you in solitary confinement, that we feel like they're treating this like a possible basically they're trying to protect you by putting you in solitary confinement," was the type of messaging that was provided to him for them rejecting him being released early. It's all a lot. And then on top of that, he's also asking for a pardon from the president. So yeah, we haven't heard anything back on that one though. But just let y'all know what's been trending this past week. Those were the main things I wanted to go over with y'all today because we did have our special guest and I didn't want the show to go, too long this week. But next week we'll be talking about some of these things a little bit more in more detail. And we will also have my co-host back, Grandmaster Basemont Star, who wasn't able to be with me today. But shout out again to Young Nicky for joining us on the show. We really appreciate having you, Young Nicky. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Young World Entertainment as well. And we hope y'all have a great rest of the week. I'm about to go bowling. Bowling. Yeah, I can't bowl worth a lick, but I'm about to go bowling. So, yeah. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, and y'all have a blessed one. Have a good night. Peace.